All right, chat. Hopefully, you had a nice little stretch break there. I am Hockey Babbler. I'm here keeping you comfy and cozy in chat as we're watching RTA in Japan presenting a restream. We're English speedrun restreams, excuse me. And we are here sharing RTA in Japan with you. It looks like our run of Dead Cells is already ready, much ahead of time. So our commentator Queuety is here to tell us more about this game, Dead Cells, which will be run by the runner Gike Tomato, who will be running the fresh file category of the game. Queuety, tell us more about this game.
Hello, everyone. My name is Queuety. So for reference, two pieces of information before we get started. One, I don't speedrun Dead Cells. I just know the game pretty well, so hopefully, anything that happens, I'll be able to cover it. And two, I don't speak Japanese, so if something comes up, I'll do the best I can. But Dead Cells is a really cool roguelike that has some kind of a combat system kind of similar to a Souls-like in a lot of ways. So you'll have that kind of merger of all the levels are randomized, all the loot is randomized, but you do still have the roll mechanic. You still do have kind of a health bar and things that you might be familiar with. Now, something that's interesting about this is we are doing fresh files. So a lot of people who have seen this run before might be used to any percent. And so like with roguelikes, normally you unlock a lot of things as you go. You build a persistent set of upgrades, you gain more health and unlock blueprints and all kinds of fun stuff. We're not doing any of that here because we are doing fresh file. It looks like they have some special skins on the game, actually. So this is Castlevania themed, which is really cool. But so they're going to be starting from scratch. So rather than having all the cool stuff from the beginning, they're going to be a little bit limited on what they have. But good luck, have fun. Here we go. So fresh file is usually like a 15-ish minute run. So our runner here is actually the #1 runner in Japan, #5 in the world, I believe, when I checked earlier today. So super excited. They're going to put on an amazing showcase for us. As you can see here, movement very much focused on quick dashing, quick rolls, using what are called ground stomps to kind of eliminate air distance as quickly as possible. The main upgrade paths you just saw there is picking up a series of scrolls. You also get items and other unlocks as you go. The scroll upgrades primarily fall into one of three categories. You can see them on the bottom left of the screen there, where you see the numbers 2, 1, and 1. Those are the stats. I believe they're called brutality, tactics, and survival in English. They just picked up another brutality, so clearly they're going to be building into the red. Let's just color code them the red skill tree. They mostly correspond to different playstyles. So brutality is more like melee, quick strikes, heavy weapons. You see that they have a sword there. Purple or tactics tends to be longer range, which is often not quicker in a fresh file type build like this. And then green is survival. Clearly, we're going full red. So what is happening here? There's a lot to cover. When you get through levels, if you do it fast enough, which obviously our runner is going to, you reach what are called timed or locked doors. And so in this first level, you have to beat the level within 2 minutes to open that door. Obviously, they did it in about 12 seconds. I don't know how fast that was, but got right through the door. Doors will have randomized loot. Those loot tables have some bounds to them. There's always a certain amount of money and a certain number of options. And wow, that was actually pretty dangerous. There's a certain number of options, but it's always going to be within certain bounds. Now, there are multiple exits on each of these levels. These maps are all randomized. So everything that the runner is seeing right now, the item drops, the enemy placements, the level design is randomized. A lot of it will be semi-consistent. You'll sort of know what to expect, but it's going to be different every time. And so they're going to be building their character build on the fly based on what items they get. Clearly, like we said, we're going for the brutality build, and then based on any other things they get. So they also get a main weapon, and then they're going to get skills, and then there's going to be also amulets, which are more persistent, or different upgrades that they can get. So they just got one there. You can see it in the little box there. Unfortunately, I can't read the tooltips because this is why I mentioned I don't know Japanese, so I can't tell you exactly what that item does. Apparently, it blows stuff up on a 20-second cooldown, so there we go. But now we are going right on to the next section. So where these exits are placed throughout the game, every level has a different set of exits. This is another timed door, as we talked about, so they get a selection of different items. We picked up another one. Every exit, as you progress through the game, is going to be in different locations. Sometimes it's, one is north, one is south, like underground, above ground, different things. You kind of know consistently where they will be, so you can plan around them. And some of them are not unlocked unless you've done a certain amount of progression. So this fresh file build is going to be fairly consistent in terms of what regions they're targeting to do. If you were doing any percent run, you might not go this route. You might go through a different what's called biomes. Now we have the shield here. This is a favorite. I don't know what just happened there. It looks like I think they missed. I'm not sure what they're going for, actually. We'll find out together. But the shield, as you can see, allows for a form of kind of like parry dashing. And so it's a much quicker form of movement of what we had earlier. That's actually a really good find early on in the game. Obviously, earlier you get it, the faster and more helpful it's going to be. So when you're doing a run like this, you kind of have to balance how much exploration you're doing, i.e. how many things like scrolls and items and things you're looking for to level up your character, because obviously you want to increase your DPS, because we do have boss fights coming up later down. But then you have to balance that with, obviously, you want to finish the levels as fast as possible. So you can see we're doing a little bit of exploration. We're mostly heading to the right, but we are looking and doing some quick checks. If you think of a randomizer, a lot of times you'll do these checks to try to find item placements or what's in different chests or things. We're doing the same type of thing here. So taking quick checks of spawns where they know certain things will be. So for example, they had an idea that scroll is going to be around, so they kind of knew to go up there. And then these little yellow, let's call them Stargates, if anyone remembers that movie and TV show, they let you teleport around within the levels. So you can go and check other things and then teleport between those. For a speedrun, probably not going to be used. There's a couple of sections later on in some biomes where it might be faster to use a gate than to do this, but as you can see, our movement speed is incredibly fast. And actually, if you watch any percent, the movement speed is absolutely outrageous. They completely break the game entirely. But this is still already very, very quick. Haven't talked about this section too much. What we have here is called the Collector, I believe. And then there's also a couple of other things. So between biomes, you can heal up as they're doing there. You can refill your health potions, very standard bonfire type thing, but you can also do your persistent upgrades. Here we have the first boss. Honestly, I can't remember the name, I'm sorry, but this is going to depend on the build that we currently have. So we do have the kind of bear traps, which is fantastic because that immobilizes the boss. And you can see every time that shield pops up, they're kind of doing a transition between phases, but they are laying down such an incredible amount of damage right now that like the boss is getting to do absolutely nothing. So that was incredibly fast, especially again considering this is fresh file. The strategy, the build, the items, everything the runner is doing right now is off the top of their head. This is all impromptu with no idea what's coming up next. So that was actually very, very quick. And then we're gonna just keep doing more of this. So we're going through to the next biome, healing up. And then there's going to be a few more bosses as we go through the run. Now, the bid war for this game actually was whether or not they fight the final boss, the Hand of the King. Now, normally in a fresh file run, you would just go right past him and go straight to the credits and just never deal with that. So this bid war is actually going to force the runner to take on the final boss. Now, what makes this super interesting is, one, they're going to be underleveled and underpowered, very much so as they are right now, for what the game expects them to be at. And then also, the runner themselves may be used to skipping that final boss. So it'll be interesting to see how prepared they are, what strategies they have, especially doing it in this impromptu matter. But as we keep going, you see the levels get a little bit more dangerous, more things explode, we find more items. So every time that we're making another step forward, everything's going to get just a little tougher. And if you've played this game casually, some of these enemies are incredibly dangerous. This biome in particular is one where a lot of people struggle. The really big enemies with the cannons have huge range, huge splash damage, so you can be in a bit of trouble very quickly. But of course, our runner is not too worried about any of that. And we're actually, believe it or not, I believe already halfway past through the game. I think we're actually moving. I know we have a 20-minute estimate. I think we're moving a lot quicker than that. I could be wrong. I don't want to jinx a runner or anything. But I think we are definitely going very fast here. Now, this is kind of, in standard Metroidvania, Castlevania style, the clock tower level. So where we have been going kind of left and right, very, very casually, just push right and you'll eventually find an exit. We're actually going to go up and down in this level. So you can see right now we're working towards the top. So just kind of a play in directionality there. And there it is. If you play this, fully or casually, I'm not sure if we'll need to do it in this run. There is oftentimes more than one, okay, you'll see it there, more than one tower. So sometimes you'll need to go through both sets. That may be required in a fresh run. I'm not 100% sure on that. But so you do end up doing verticality up and down on both sides. And that also gives an opportunity to build out the character a little bit more. You can see that the runner is, and I'm not sure if this is related to the bid war or not, just took... has been taking some upgrades on survival, which is primarily, giving them more HP. Now, let's see if they continue this. No, they went back to brutality on that one. So I don't know if there's certain breakpoints they're trying to hit or if this is in response to the bid war. But it is interesting to see it's not just fully red. Now you can see the different items on the bottom left are color coded. So each of the stats they're upgrading corresponds to how much they help a given item. And you can see I think it's the fourth one is purple/green. And so that usually means that it takes the highest value of the stat of that corresponding color. Here we're in the second boss already. This boss is another kind of gatekeeper, like literally and figuratively. And wow, that is a lot of damage. That is absolutely wild. You could hear it from the live commentary too. They were like, oh my goodness. That was a lot of damage. So this build seems to be going pretty well. I was watching a few runs to prepare for this commentary, and they were not doing the bosses that fast. So I don't know if our movement speed is keeping up with some of those other things, but our damage is definitely keeping up. Here we are in kind of a palace. So there's going to be a few different doors. There'll be color-coded doors. So this will work a little differently than a couple of other biomes. It's going to take a little bit longer than a couple of other biomes to get through. This is one of the last areas of the game. So like I said, we are moving very quickly. And all the enemies, of course, get much more deadly. There's our red door. So as I mentioned, color-coded. And then you can see a lot of the enemies. One just did a whirlwind attack that took up half the screen. Like, it starts to get very interesting. This is going to be a battle room, very, very standard stuff. Kill all the enemies, it'll end. And then you start looking for the next colored room. So they're going to go back out. And I forget what the other colors are. I think one of them's yellow. But we'll be looking for the next couple of those types of rooms. And that will lead us towards the last couple of bosses. Oh, blue. Here we go. Always a good color. And we got another battle room. Again, making very short work. You can see all the little icons above the enemy there. I think it said elite and bonus defense and different things. These are very strong enemies that if you were playing this casually on a fresh file, meaning no meta progression, that's... I couldn't do that. that is astronomical how quickly we're doing this on a fresh file. And then you can see the map here. So some of these levels, if you're doing the full exploration, you're looking around, are quite expansive. Now, as mentioned before, we're not trying to fully explore them, find all the secrets, the multiple routes, the shopkeepers, all those different things. We were looking for very specific triggers. So there, they didn't see what they liked on that map, so they teleported back to the top. And this is the area I mentioned at the beginning where we might use a couple of warp gates, depending on the layout of the castle and how things are going. But looks like they found their way out pretty quickly and didn't find anything else that they were too interested in there. But we are coming up on. Oh, okay, we're doing a little bit of shopping. It looks like we've been saving up our money for the end here, but we are coming up on some of the last stuff. So this should be really interesting. But we still do have a little bit to go through. Okay. Here is where the bid war comes in. So this is the final boss. Normally you would skip this and you would go straight to the credits. So if this was a normal run, the run would already be over at 12-ish minutes RTA. I think it was 9.5 or something on endgame time. Incredibly fast. But this is the final boss that we are fighting now. So like I said, I'm really interested to see how this works out, but doing very, very good damage. So here, another set of forced encounter of different enemies you have to fight. And you can see they have modifiers above their head. And then we go right back to fighting the boss. There'll be multiple kind of waves of that. So far, very, very clean. And obviously, those yellow things are bombs. They're trying to kick them back and forth out the stage because at this build level, they might actually one-shot the player. I'm not sure on that, but they're very dangerous. And now we're back to another wave here. And then the other thing is you can see the spikes on the sides of the arenas. Those are to force... Oh, they're using the spikes there to kill the enemies. I love that. All the hazards do... Oh, okay, all the hazards do hurt enemies just like they hurt you, so that was super clever. But the spikes are there to force the player to engage with mechanics and engage with the final boss. Remember, this is an optional final boss that you should not be doing on your fresh file, so this is extremely, extremely difficult. Very well played there. And looks like we're... Okay, I wasn't sure if we were going to try to go for it, and done. That was very, very clean. Honestly, on a fresh file, that was very good RNG, very well played. You can't ask for better than that. that was essentially a flawless, perfect run. And then the clock is still going, so I'm not sure if I'm missing something or not. But this is kind of the ending that comes from when you do the final boss there. Oh wait! That wasn't. I think I'm totally whiffing. Hold on. Is there one more boss? The credits got me. Am I wrong? Still talking. I didn't think there was. Oh, no. No, there wasn't. Okay. I was like, I'm so confused. So normally you don't do any of that. You go straight to the credits. So that's what we were waiting for time. I apologize. That's my fault. Like I said, not as familiar with this version of the run as I should have been. But as I said, super clean, amazing finish of that fight. The DPS was incredible. Getting the shield early on for movement was great. And if I remember, they would have done the normal run in about 9.5, which is a very, very strong time. If I pull up the leaderboard, I think that would have been top 10 in terms of world records for this run in this category. So that would have been an incredibly good time to do at a marathon setting, doing it live. Yeah. That was fantastic, though.
Queuety, thank you so much for that incredible commentary. Where can the people find you?
They can find me on my Twitch every now and then, which is twitch.tv/Queuety. I am also a showrunner and host for GDQ, so every couple of weeks on Mondays, if you're interested in Souls-likes, roguelikes, and Metroidvanias, you can find me over there. That's how I found myself on this commentary. But for right now, we're here to celebrate RTA, and I'm so excited that you all had me. This has been a lot of fun, supporting an amazing cause. It's going on for a long time. So keep tuning in, and I'll be back for more commentary in a couple of days. I'll be on Inscription on August 11th.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Queuety. And Chad, don't you go anywhere. We'll be back with more RTA in Japan in just a little bit on the English Speedrun Restreams.
いや聞いてないんだけど聞いてないんだけどはいありがとうございました
これがやりたかった。このために来た。
これ締めていいんですよね。
はい。締めましょう。
はい。
はい、ありがとうございました。というわけで、デッドセルズ、非常に楽しいゲームとなっておりますので、開放要素とかもやっておくのが非常に楽しいゲームです。皆さんもぜひプレイしてみてください。というわけで、ありがとうございました。